is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, Manny. Alcantara or Alcantara?
Sandy, you talking about?
Yeah. I know we pronounce it, but are we really pronouncing it the right way, or did he just let it go and Americanize it like I did going out of Alzugaray?
Yeah, I think a lot of us do that, right? I mean, don't we just kind of Americanize our names? Don't we? I mean, that's kind of what the way it's done.
Because the Alcantara is not how it's spelled.
No.
It's Alcantara.
Correct.
So what is the pronunciation? The real, like, really, mine is that Alzugaray. But I Americanized it to make it easy for people because they struggle so much with my name. But Alzugaray makes it nice and simple.
Right.
I take out that A, and so did Alcantara. That's
Alcántara. That's the way you say it in Spanish, right? I mean, that's the real pronunciation. Alcántara.
Right, because you're pronouncing the A.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I don't go into the locker rooms anymore. I need to go into the damn locker room. I need to go find out myself and go ask Sandy, oye, Chico, and explain to him, listen, my name's Alzugaray and it's Alzugaray, but hey,
right.
Did you do the same thing? And then I'm just wondering, bro, you know what I mean? It just...
Yeah, I think it's just something we always do, right? We just automatically adapt it for the American pronunciation. So
I did when I was like in second grade, bro. Like second or third grade in Arbondale. Right. It was just one of those things where everybody was trying. I'm like, oh, dude, this just let me simplify this as a kid so nobody can struggle with the damn name and just move on. But yeah, every once in a while, I'll get some Latin person that's a little bothered by, oye, tu nombre es Alzugaray, okay? Porque yo veo que tú estás muy americanado, esto, lo otro, that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So they'll correct me on that. So that's why the Sandy one, I always say Alcantara because it's like, it looks to me like that's how it's really pronounced, but so it is what it is. But anyway, all right. So what's new in the world of the Canes and I guess Mr. Ruiz and NILs?
Oh, that never ends, man. I mean, he's I think I told you a few weeks back here on the show that he was going to be flying out with some of these international kids, right? Lou Headley, for instance, going with him to Australia to film his commercial so that he could get paid. He's doing it with Akeem Mesidor right now, the Canadian defensive lineman who Miami got from West Virginia. They went with him back to Canada so they could film a commercial there and he could get paid. So that's what's going on with that. The NIL deals never stop. I know he's on the internet making deals now with long snappers throughout the country, including Florida
kid, right? Florida kid,
got
right?
The Gators. You got the Gators kid to do it, mainly because the Gators. I guess this is so. I mean, it's where we've gotten to in college football, where now everybody's boosters are going after each other on the internet, right? Like it's we're going to challenge you. You're the one breaking the rule. Don't talk about my collective like that. And then Ruiz comes right back at him with his legalese, and it's like, dude, what are you talking about? I've been legal. I've been doing things the right way. It's very comical. If you follow this on Twitter, and not that I have to, but it's Ruiz has become such a big deal now, right, with NIL that you have to see what he's up to, what he's announcing, who's he signing.
But he wastes no time to correct your ass.
Oh, and I talked to him. I talked to him last Friday after I came on your show about that. I said, man, what is it? I go, you really go after these guys on the internet, like you don't give a shit, you're just going after whoever it is. And he's just like, he's of the mind that, look, man, like all of these little conversations on the internet, if you have to shoot some of them down, because if not, it sort of permeates. Oh, this guy's opinion is or what he's doing is wrong, and it's like, no, I want to correct you at the point. Like, you're going to come after me, I'm going to correct you. So he just enjoys doing that. I guess that's the lawyer in him, right? That's the lawyer in him to get into these war of words. But yeah, that's what's going on with him. Miami swung and missed. They went after the Jalen Robinson kid from UCF in the transfer portal. They had him come and visit last week. But you know what? I mean, that's one of those deals where, you're at, like I said, 83 scholarships right now. You only have a couple of them left. Jalen Robinson wasn't going to come in and all of a sudden be your number one wide receiver. He's not as good as Charleston Rambo was last year when they got him. So he was a guy who would come in and be a piece in the rotation. And who knows? Guys can still get into the transfer portal that are graduates. If you're a graduate, if you graduated this spring and now you want to get into the transfer portal after the May 1st date, I think you still can. I think the rule allows you to still do that if you've graduated. It was for the one-time transfer rule that was May 1. So I think that, we'll see if Miami adds any more receivers. They've got 8 guys on scholarship now. They had a few that moved in this past weekend, five additions from the that were set to arrive. There'll be a couple of other transfers and people who get in here, I think, in Summer B. But come the fall, I mean, I feel like Mario has this roster in a good position. So, I think from that perspective, are they deep enough at a lot of positions? Yes. Do guys have to step up and prove themselves? Yes, absolutely.
Dude, what's this whole thing about ACC football schedule could work with no divisions and 3 annual opponents?
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially what's happened with the ACC and with a lot of these other, conferences, they're all thinking about doing this now where, you may not, in the ACC, for instance, Miami and Wake Forest, I don't think have played each other since like 2009 or whatever it is, even though they're in the same conference. And so, you basically have the way the ACC sets it up right now. You have 8 conference games. You play the 6 other teams in your division every year, and then you play the one, sort of annual cross division rival, which for Miami is Florida State every year, right? So that means you only have one other game that you rotate year to year to year against that other division. So you can go a decade before you play that, some other school that's in your conference. So the whole concept here is you go 3-5, which is basically 3 annual opponents, the three that you want to play every single year, no matter what. And then the other 5 conference games would rotate, which means you'd play everybody in the conference within 2 years. You play them twice in 4 years. So if you go to Miami, you're going to play Clemson twice in your 4 years there. If you go to, wherever. So the point is to get everybody to play each other.
Right.
And to make it more of a conference feel, because what happened was in 2020 when we had COVID and everything was shut down and we went to that sort of one conference, we got rid of divisions. You almost had better football, right? It was more exciting from the perspective of, hey, the 2 best teams get to the conference finals. And that year Notre Dame happened to be in the conference, right? Because of what happened with COVID and the shutdown of cross-conference type games. You really didn't have that. So Notre Dame just played an ACC schedule, and you had 2 teams get to the semifinal from the ACC, Notre Dame and Clemson. So I think the ACC sees this now as a possibility to get the 2 best teams in the championship game every single year, instead of doing this division format where, let's face it, the Coastal Division has been pretty trash, right? For a long time now. You've had a bunch of different teams win the division and go there with 4 or 5 losses, go to the conference championship game, and that hurts a team like Clemson when they don't get to play, another team that has 1 or 2 losses in the conference championship to help them get into the playoff, so to speak. So I think that's the overall vision with this.
All right. Don't forget, folks, you can go to Caneswear and you can go online anywhere in the country. And you can order there. Everything over $99, you get free shipping, and they ship it out quickly. So you want something for the Heat playoffs or the Panther playoffs? They're going to be in the playoffs hopefully for a couple weeks. Well, you can order something right now and get it in a couple days, man. So you can sport your favorite hat, shirt, all of that. Go to caneswear.com. Free shipping over $99. Make sure you tell them that Big O sent you. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Tell me a little bit about Jackson Howard. Who is this kid?
Yeah, I met him at the spring game in the middle of April. He was down here, a kid out of Minnesota. His father played for Stanford, defensive end. He ended up being a 2nd-round pick, I think, of the Vikings. Got hurt, didn't have much of a pro career because of injuries, but his father was an excellent player, and he's one of the top recruits in the country out of, like I said, out of the Minnesota area. Came down, visited Miami twice, I think, unofficially, absolutely loves it. And now he's going to be, taking an official visit to Miami. I think his last official visit this summer. And he's, he's an elite kid and played both tight end and defensive end. I think Miami's recruiting him to play both sides. And ultimately,
wait a minute. Now, what kind of tight end is he? Is he a blocking type of tight end, or is he?
He can catch. He can catch. He can produce. He's going to probably play quarterback his senior year in high school because he's an athlete. He's a hell of an athlete. He's a big.
Holy shit! This guy's a quarterback, a defensive end, and a tight end.
He's kind of like a Tim Tebow type, right? I mean, reality was Tim.
No, he's Shanae Otani, bro. Holy crap! If he can do that, he's better than Tim Tebow. He's Shanae Otani, man.
Well, listen,
he's also going to sack your ass too at the same time. I mean, are you kidding me?
He could play both sides of the line.
Michelle Tafoya probably hates him. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's just wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, the kid's talented, and he likes Miami a whole lot. I think the Canes are in good shape. To get him. But yeah, that's who Jackson Howard is. There's a lot of recruits that Miami is in on. A lot of kids that they're having conversations with. I just did a mailbag for The Athletic. I'm in the middle of writing it right now, but so many questions about recruiting and people so excited about recruiting and who are they going to get? Mario's here, and it's like, you look at the number of transfers that are becoming part of recruiting classes now. Oh, I mean, the number just keeps going up year after year versus high school kids. They're taking more and more transfers.
The transfer is more important than the recruiting now,
because they can impact right away, whereas these high school kids have to be developed. So to me, I think the way that we viewed recruiting for the last few decades of, man, this kid, is he coming? Is he going to come to visit over the summer? How important is all of that? To me matters a whole lot less than it used to, because in the end, like, the elite kids are going to be the elite kids, right? You're going to compete for those guys no matter what. But the 4-star, the lower 4-star, the 3-star, like, to me, that's going to be a scramble at the end, right? Hey, do we need a tight end in this class? Do we need a defensive end in this class? We're going to go after this kid. Do we need a linebacker in this class? We're going to, like, in other words, all of this summer shenanigans, right, where everybody's all excited over, this kid's visiting. It's meaningless. It's meaningless to me, because come November, come December, those kids are going to be looking at one thing and one thing only. Are those coaches still going to be on staff there? Those guys who've been recruiting me for months, are they still going to be on staff when I get there in January, or when I get there in May? That's what matters to them. So, I think we can jump through hoops and get all excited about these high school kids, but you're basically doing it for nothing. And I'm sitting here, I've been doing all the research. The number of decommitments have gone up year after year after year. Transfers have gone up. The number of kids who flip commitments has gone up. So all of this decision-making in the summer, so long in front of National Signing Day, again, if you're the kind of person who lives and dies on this stuff, I would recommend taking 2 chill pills and waiting till November, December to really care about it.
Manny, let me ask you something, because I was thinking about this, and there's got to be a little bit of an interesting twist to this, and the way they've got to approach it's got to be a little different. And so we look at John Ruiz, the gentleman from American Top Training. What's his name? That he also gave a whole bunch of
Yes. God, I have so many different names in my head. And I looked up his number yesterday.
Dan Lambert.
Thank you for doing that.
Dan Lambert.
I got too many names in my phone here. So go ahead.
No, I'm with you. And Dan, sorry to forget you, because you've done a hell of a job, and obviously helping the program. Right. Okay. So, but other examples are Drew Rosenhaus and Manny Malkikawa, correct? They're correct, doing their own NIL, right? Mm-hmm. Now, right. So Lambert and Ruiz, they're biased. When they're sharing their money, they're sharing it for players that are going to wear the Canes colors. So now we have the agent side of it. When they're doing it, they've got to accommodate players who may not want to go to Miami, may want to go to Florida, may want to go to Florida State, may want to go to Alabama, may want to go somewhere else. So the dynamics of the NIL battle and how certain agents may not be benefiting the program the way Lambert and obviously Ruiz do. So how is that battle, and how much is that? I don't know how much of the competition is within those guys now too. Now, does Ruiz and Lambert find themselves fighting against Malky and Drew, because everybody has a different agenda, and we know where Lambert and Ruiz's agenda, whereas the agent only cares about the end game is the player, and where he ends up, it doesn't matter as long as the money ends up in his pocket.
Well, a couple things to note here. Number one, the majority of these agents are representing guys that are already in college. They're not representing the high school recruits.
Right. They've already decided the recruiting and where they're at and what they're doing.
So right off the bat, that's what kind of kills that sort of thought process of, okay, who are they? Who's
they're never the driving force in guiding anybody to any specific school out of high school.
Correct. Whereas the NIL guys like Ruiz and Lambert and some of these other guys, obviously they're driving money. Their interest is Miami, right? It's helping them out. Although I will say Ruiz has signed guys now from Florida and FIU and other schools, so it's not like it's just Miami. So he's
true, actually.
He's positioning himself in a way where if somebody comes to argue and say, hey, this isn't NIL, this is pay for play to go to Miami, well, he's got the argument now. Well, look, I got guys that are signed with Florida and guys that are signed with FIU. So from that perspective, he's doing this.
He's looking out for life wallet.
Yes,
it's a life wallet thing.
Right. Exactly. I think the majority, and I've talked to a few of these guys. Okay, Malik Bryant works for Malkikawa and first round management, and I had him on my podcast last month. He's a guy who went to Florida State, but he's from Miami. Played at Miami Killian High School. He's one of the top high school recruits in the country. Went to Florida State, and we talked about his allegiances. To him, as an agent now, it's all about making money off these kids, right? It really is what it is. So, he represents a ton of Miami guys. He's trying to get some Florida State guys paid. They just don't have any NIL deals up there for those kind of kids. So,
come on, bro. Whataburger. I always stop at Whataburger on my way to Mobile. Come on, Whataburger.
Yeah.
Step it up for the Seminoles. Come on. Jeez.
Yeah. So look, man, like with J.R. Bryant, for instance, I just think a lot of these guys, once you're past your playing days, yes, while he still loves Florida State, I think it's all business. Like it's all about where is the money at, and right now the money's at Miami, and so that's why it's sort of pushing in that direction. I don't think there's many instances where these guys are directing kids to leave a school because you're not making NIL, to go somewhere else. A lot of these kids, let's face it. I mean, a lot of the kids that John Ruiz has on the payroll, okay, for Life Wallet, I would say of the 120 kids or however many he has now on the payroll, I would say if those kids went to another school, maybe 10 of them are getting NIL deals. Like a lot of them are just getting NIL deals because they're here, because they play for this team. They're not really marketable. They're not good enough to be marketable, in other places. So
all the players on all the sports outside of football and basketball are pretty much not marketable. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, come on. It's just not going to work.
No. So, I mean, again, like that whole argument of, they're going to push kids to certain schools. At this point, I don't think NIL has become that powerful throughout the country. Okay. Like Miami's a market that you're going to be able to make money if you play for the Hurricanes or you play for even FIU, right? You'll have a couple of kids who can make NIL off of that. But across the country, I mean, it's pretty much the elite power schools, the elite Power 5 schools that have always had the funding, that have always paid for athletes. Those are the ones that are doing this business and getting players to come to their schools. So that's my response to that.
If you want anything and everything with a UM logo, go to Canes. We're at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. It will freak you out. They literally have everything with a Canes logo. You'll love it out there. All right, what are you working on at The Athletic, my friend, so folks can check you out?
Yeah, well, we just launched our coaching carousel series on Monday, kicked it off with the way the dominoes sort of fall in college football, right? 29 head coaching changes in the offseason. And of course, I'm writing about Mario Cristobal. Bruce Feldman and I are tag teaming on a Miami story. Really, I wrote so much about Mario, how they got him here, how he was plan A and not, basically plan B was Manny Diaz. If they weren't going to get Mario, that was it. They were going to have to go back to Manny Diaz. Would UM be in the same situation they are in now with NIL and all that other stuff? No, let's face it. Like the fact that Mario's here, Miami's in a much better situation with being able to hire great assistants and hire players through NIL, right? I think those things don't exist in the capacity they do right now if Mario's not here. So our story will also, Bruce talked with Mario yesterday, I think for over an hour, about his interview process, hiring these assistant coaches and all that kind of stuff. So that story should be coming out soon. I want to say this afternoon, but I'm not 100% sure. It might be tomorrow. Bruce was writing his section. I was done with mine. I interviewed Miami's administration and Rudy Fernandez and all those guys, and I had my side of the story done. He was handling the coaching hires, the assistants, etc. So that'll be out soon. That'll be a good read. A lot of good stories to read in the coaching carousel series that we're putting out. And then I have my own stuff. I have that mailbag that I'll put out soon. I have a Ruiz sort of profile I'm working on as well. A lot to read on the website. Again, don't just read for the Canes coverage. Read it for everything that we do college football-wise, because we have a great staff.
No doubt about it. By the way, the Patriots have released D'Eriq King.
Yeah. Well, expected. I mean, he's just not big enough, and if you
he's not really athletic enough,
right?
Let's
and
just
I think,
be quite honest, if you're going to be an athlete at the next level, he was never that kind of athlete to be at the next level, dude.
And certainly not after those knee injuries and ACLs and stuff that he dealt with, where it slowed him down. He would, I think he ran a 4.6 at the spring showcase, or the one that they did for the NFL with all the scouts that came in. Look, could D'Eriq King play professionally in some level? Yeah, I think he could play in the USFL, right? He could play in the Canadian League, probably, in a sort of gimmicky type role.
Yeah, Canadian might be the wider field and all that. That might help him out over there in the Canadian League. That might be the kind of league. The screwed up part is that you almost needed the injury in order for Tyler Van Dyke to kind of get the opportunity that he was able to showcase his skills.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot. Today I was looking at music history, and on this day back in 1990, I believe, Nirvana's drummer left and Dave Grohl stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't find out about Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters if Kurt Cobain doesn't kill himself.
Right.
Because if Nirvana's still Nirvana, maybe Dave Grohl doesn't open up his wings and spread it out and become himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how things happen, that the D'Eriq King thing led to the Tyler Van Dyke rise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but you feel for D'Eriq, man, because he's everything that's right about sports, period.
I think
about competition, about being a teammate, about being, everything. He's everything that's good about sports. You know what I'm saying? And that's just
absolutely.
You just want good to happen to people like D'Eriq King.
And I think he'll be in coaching before long. I mean, look, people forget about this, but Ryan Williams, who was a backup quarterback at Miami, I think he might have started a game or two a decade ago. He was on that Georgia staff that just won a national championship. Malik Rozier, who I interviewed for my podcast, he was obviously the quarterback during Miami's only 10-win season in the last 2 decades. And he's into private coaching now. I think a lot of these guys that have played the quarterback position at Miami in the last few years that haven't necessarily panned out in an NFL terms, guys like Malik, guys like D'Eriq and Ryan, I think they can be good coaches that sort of rise through the ranks, right? I mean, who had heard of Mark Richt before he started coaching at FSU as the OC over there, right? And then all of a sudden he rises through the ranks. Yes, he was at Miami briefly, but it wasn't a big time player at UM when he was quarterback here. So I think D'Eriq's from that same pedigree. I could see him being a college football head coach one day.
Good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his exceptional work there at The Athletic. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Good talking to you, brother. Take care.
You got it. Be good. There you go. Manny Navarro in our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
This is the Big O Show.